Thank you for joining the media briefing for Council President Kate Stewart. I'm Jordan Lindsay. Reporters, if you still need permission to record, please note that in the chat. And if you have any questions throughout this briefing, you can note that in the chat or raise your hand, and I will call on you accordingly. Now I'll go ahead and toss it to Council President Stewart for opening remarks. Council President, to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jordan, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. The council session tomorrow will be our last formal council session until September 9th. I want to thank you all for your continued coverage of county issues. Local coverage is more important now than ever before, and your work is pivotal to making sure our residents stay informed and engaged in everything that goes on in our communities. Council members will be working on community issues throughout the county through August, and you'll see many of us, particularly on National Night Out, which is on August 5th. I'll be making several stops around my district, including downtown Silver Spring, Tacoma Park, Littonsville, and Kensington, and I hope community members participate. This community building event helps to enhance the relationship between neighbors and our police department to help make our county a safer place to live, work, worship, and raise a family. So please join us at one of the numerous events during National Night Out and help spread the word. We appreciate all the work the Montgomery County Police Department and the numerous community members who helped organize this great event this year. So thank you to everyone. I also want to take a moment to express our gratitude to the 3rd District police officers who took action over this weekend to save an individual who was threatening to jump off a parking garage in my district. One of the officers and the person in distress were both transported to an area hospital for non-life-threatening head injuries. We wish everyone a full and speedy recovery. This incident is a reminder of the critical work that first responders do each and every day to protect and serve our community. Also, if you or someone you know is having a mental health crisis, please call or text 988, which provides judgment-free, confidential care and can connect you with someone who can help you. Now on to council matters. Tomorrow, we will begin our council session with a presentation of a number of proclamations. Councilmember Mink Sales and I will be presenting a proclamation for Senior Citizens Day, which is celebrated nationally on August 21st. More than 180,000 older adults call Montgomery County home and comprise approximately 18% of our population, up from 6% in 1970. This is a trend that is set to continue as residents 60 and older will make up 25% of the county's population by 2030. That is why Montgomery County remains committed to ensuring we are an age-friendly community where our older residents can stay connected and thrive. Additionally, July is Park and Recreation Month, and the Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee will be presenting a proclamation recognizing Montgomery County's award-winning parks, facilities, and recreation programs. With 431 parks encompassing more than 34,000 acres and 22 recreation centers across our community, we're proud to celebrate the dedicated staff and seasonal workers who help make these nationally recognized resources inclusive, innovative, and accessible to all residents. Finally, I'll be presenting a joint proclamation with the County Executive and our Office of Human Rights recognizing Fair Open Housing Day. The Fair Housing Act laid the foundation for equal access to housing, and we honor the act by reaffirming Montgomery County's commitment to safe, affordable, and equitable housing for all. We recognize the continued efforts of advocates and community partners who work to eliminate discrimination and build inclusive communities, and remain dedicated to expanding opportunities for housing and upholding our county's values. Next, tomorrow, we will be voting on the 2025 Master Plan of Highways and Transitways update. This provides a roadmap for making transportation investments in the county, like reevaluating street classifications, planned lane capacities, transitways, and target speeds. The Master Plan of Highways and Transitways was first adopted in 1931 and reflects nearly a century of continuous updates to keep pace with growth and evolving policy priorities following the creation of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission in 1927. The last technical update of this master plan was in 2018, and it has been amended by several plans, including the Silver Spring Downtown and Adjacent Communities Plan and the Corridor Forward I-270 Transit Plan. The 2025 technical Update is needed to reflect recent county actions, including the adoption of the Complete Streets Design Guide and updates to street and road classifications. While most of the changes are technical, the plan also proposes some noteworthy changes we reviewed during our Transportation and Environment Committee meeting last week, including removing the northern section of the Mid-County Highway, known as M83, which is a project that has been subject to decades of study and discussion. The latest figures from the Planning Department estimate a total of $655 million in savings for not building M83. Also removing outdated street segments and updating classifications and lane widths on hundreds of roads to reflect the complete streets goals, adding and removing transit segments and BRT station locations based on current plans, including a new growth corridor boulevard category for future planning, and including long-term transit visions like like red line extension and MARC improvements. Tomorrow at council, we will discuss these master plan amendments and take a vote on the plan with T&E committee's recommendations. Next, tomorrow, we also have the council will receive a briefing from the Montgomery County Department of Transportation on its parking lot pilot security program. The council and much of the public was unfortunately made aware of this pilot program by a surprise last month via a news story. And understandably, we've had a number of questions. Myself, along with Public Safety Chair Katz, sent a letter to the county executive and the director of transportation requesting a pause in development of this pilot until more information on the program is provided, especially since members of the public were not given the opportunity to provide feedback on this project. We know that public safety is a concern and a priority in our downtown Silver Spring area among residents, businesses, and visitors over the last few years. In response, we have been working collaboratively with the Montgomery County Police Department, our business community, and community stakeholders to address these concerns. High visibility patrols have been added in and around downtown Silver Spring garages to enhance safety and targeted car thieves. In addition to increased patrol and community engagement initiatives, the department has focused on proactive policing strategies and crime prevention programs. Notable initiatives over the past few years include the Drone as First Responder program, the Police Private Security Camera Incentive Program, the Real-Time Intelligence Center, as well as council legislation covering late-night businesses. With all of these initiatives aimed at improving public safety, we have seen positive changes in our downtown Silver Spring area. While we all want to ensure the safety of our residents and visitors to our downtown areas, this is most effectively achieved through transparency and community engagement, especially on issues that impact the protections we have in place for residents' privacy and civil rights. We look forward to getting our questions answered by our Department of Transportation tomorrow. In addition, tomorrow, we will also be voting on ZTA 24-05, which will create a new optional method public benefit standards in commercial, residential, and employment zones using a tiered system with categories that have been updated to align with current county policy priorities. Public benefits policies in the county require developers to incorporate community amenities into large development projects in exchange for increased density and height allowances. Projects must achieve a minimum point total depending on their size, intensity, and location. Some examples of public benefits that can be offered in exchange for increased densities and height allowance include affordable housing, public facilities, public parking, public art, open space, and pedestrian improvements. This update would determine public benefits and developments located within the county's incentive areas connected to transit and employment more suitable for increased density. This change simplifies the existing system by consolidating over 36 public benefit choices into 4 streamlined categories with a total of 14 specific public benefits. The 4 categories include housing for all, environmental resistance, infrastructure for compact growth, and complete communities. These changes reflect ongoing efforts to create a clearer, more equitable framework for public benefits tied to development in Montgomery County. By simplifying the categories and linking benefits directly to the amount of incentive density requested, the amendment better supports the county's key priorities for future housing and helps ensure that our growth contributes meaningfully to the sustainability and quality of life for all county residents. I want to thank the Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee members for their work on this issue. And then finally today, at 1:30, the Transportation Environment Committee will review expedited bill 19-25, which if enacted would provide an exemption for landscape professionals to use gas-powered leaf blower equipment during certain months of the year and set a sunset for the seasonal exemption. This bill's lead sponsor is Councilmember Gabe Albanaz. The seasonal exemption would allow the use of combustion-powered leaf blower equipment by a professional landscaping company for 3 months during the fall, starting October 1st until December 31st, limiting use to weekdays, Mondays through Friday, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. This exemption does not extend to weekends and would sunset the seasonal exemption in 3 years. The county's ban on the use of gas-powered leaf blowers took effect on July 1st. During our public hearing, we heard from many residents on both sides of this bill. The committee will take all of these perspectives into account as we discuss the legislation further before making a recommendation to the full council this fall. I'm going to turn it back to you now, Jordan, to help answer questions.
Great, thank you so much, Council President. Reporters, if you have any questions, please note them in the chat or you can raise your hand and I will call on you accordingly. Okay, I see up first we have Lionel Donovan with WSA 9. Is that correct? Hi, Lionel. Good morning.
Good morning, Jordan. Good morning, Councilmember Stewart. I appreciate you taking the time. And so I just wanted to kind of get some clarification on the parking security pilot program. So from what I'm understanding, you all are pausing, you're putting a pause on the program. You're not moving forward at this point in time.
That is the request we've made of the county executive's office and the director of transportation. Since this had not been presented to the county council before, and at this point, and we'll find out tomorrow, it did not seem that there had been any public engagement or notification about the project. And so we have requested, myself and Councilmember Katz, that the project not move forward until we had, they came before us, which they will do tomorrow to answer questions by the county council, and that there was communication to the public and engagement with the public on this pilot project.
Okay, so just one follow-up with that being said. So how did the project get started? How was this company able to come into Silver Spring and set up this robot?
That is an excellent question, and one of the things that we are getting to the bottom of tomorrow. I don't know that, and that would be a great question for the county executive's office to understand how this project was allowed to move forward without notification to the public or to the county council. And that's going to be one of our top questions tomorrow.
Okay, so you'll be talking about this tomorrow. Okay,
yeah.
That is good to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lionel. Up next, Jenny Bixby with Bethesda Today. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Jordan. Good morning, Kate. Lionel had already touched on some of my questions, but I did want to ask, is this something, I know that we don't know yet how this came into be, is this something that would have been subject to council approval, like a formal vote and a public hearing?
Not necessarily. This is something like as we said before, the police department has a number of different programs and other things that they do, as well as the Department of Transportation. In the past, for example, the Drone as First Responder program, we did not appropriate or allocate the funding for that program until we understood better what it was going to do, because that was a line item in the budget. This pilot project, and again, we don't know exactly until we ask these questions tomorrow, how the Department of Transportation was looking at moving this forward, but not necessarily a project that we would have to take a vote on.
Okay. I was curious because I know this is something I kind of abandoned at some point, but back March or April, when the General Assembly session was still in session, there was a piece of legislation that did not go through that would have had the video camera pilot program on certain roads in Montgomery County and Prince George's County that would have taken photos of people on their phones in the car, and it didn't pass. But I know that the folks who had come to talk about the program said that there had been some tests in Montgomery County, and I don't think anybody was really aware of that prior to that point, prior to that story I wrote. So I guess something I'm curious on is, where is the line between what the police department, law enforcement, the Department of Transportation can just do under under the title of a trial without it being approved, or
Yeah, so if they're not requesting additional funding, which is how we work, we appropriate the money on our legislative side. It's when they do these pilots, they have a great deal of latitude to explore them, and that is why I think it's incumbent upon the county exec's office to make sure that public notice and engagement is done before our police department or our Department of Transportation undertake any type of pilot project like this.
gotcha. Thank
Great. Thank you, Jenny. Reporters, if you have any additional questions, please note that in the chat or you can raise your hand. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, no more questions. Back to you, Council President Stewart. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. As I mentioned at the top, we are tomorrow's our last official council meeting until September 9th. But as you all know, we are always working on behalf of our residents here in Montgomery County. So if you have any questions or issues come up, please reach out to us and we're happy to answer your questions. So thank you very much and have a great day.